What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about Rezolve AI, I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what is really moving it, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Rezolve is down 19.5%, 238 the low, 348 the high, and 56 million shares being traded. So today overall is very, very odd, especially in Rezolve's case when they did put out pretty much exactly what retail investors and as well institutions were wanting to hear. They obviously put out that technically they're on their path to exceed 200 million in ARR for 2025. Previous guidance was 150. That is epic stuff. So in general, that should have actually pushed really Rezolve higher, but there's a lot of macro conditions that is really affecting Rezolve. So for instance, this morning, we did have two data points, relatively small in nature. So again, it kind of signals that there's more to it behind the scenes. So mortgage applications came in at negative 3.8, mortgage market index came in at 315. Both not great, but still not enough to justify the crazy sell-off. This morning as well, we actually did have the market fairly optimistic because of this. So Wedbush initiates coverage on quantum computing stocks. So in general, Wedbush is always seen by Wall Street as the innovative kind of firm, and one of their analyst, Daniel Ives, is very well known for covering Palantir and a couple other very speculative stocks that kind of worked out. So in general, Wedbush giving ratings on quantum stocks was seen as people's appetite for risk now increasing. So that's kind of some of the things that really affected the broader market. But for those of you that have tuned into a lot of my other videos, especially over the weekend, I stated that this week was going to be rough. And the reason why it is rough is because of this. Thursday evening, we have the Bank of Japan interest rate decision. So there is and has been a liquidity pinch. So Rezolve is doing fairly well based on the volume today, but most other stocks we've seen lower and lower volume. And that is just big money exiting. And so ultimately today, and I guess yesterday's green day, was a bull trap. And so ultimately this right here, this interest rate decision, first of many, because Bank of Japan is going to be raising it 25 basis points and potentially up to about 3.5%. So there's going to be a lot of other rate hikes. And some of you might be wondering, okay, what does that have to do with the broader market or even Rezolve? Very good question. Ultimately, this is going to put a lot of strain on the bond market, American bond market, because a lot of Japanese entities actually invest in American bonds. With their interest rate going higher, it's a little bit more advantageous to rotate now into them, their own local bonds. So that's going to cause a pinch within the bond market. Thus, it's going to trickle down to equities. So that, lo and behold, is exactly what pretty much is happening across the board. And again, for those of you that have been tuning into a lot of my videos, this is kind of the writing on the wall. So even though Rezolve put out absolutely epic news yesterday, in my opinion, it's just getting dragged down by the broader market. At the same time, shorts are increasing 129,000 shares. So even though technically Rezolve put out some good news yesterday, I think it is a little bit too late, because way back when I've been covering on and off Rezolve for a while, I even said Rezolve is actually very lucky. The fact that shorts haven't really paid too much attention to it. They didn't really care about it because, yeah, in general, YouTubers didn't cover it, institutions, mainstream media didn't really cover it, despite the very impressive rally. But as of late, now it looks like shorts are starting to get back in. So even September, short interest was about 6%. At the high was end of September at like 10%. And so currently 13.12% of the free float is being shorted. So shorts are becoming a little bit more big part of the day-to-day for Rezolve. So that's not really the greatest, unfortunately. But aside from that, looking at the options, we're seeing 1.1 million in calls, 215,000 in puts, and then 58% of all the options being done are bearish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around 3 to 350. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 2, or 250, sorry. So in general, not the greatest. These are some of the transactions occurring on the secondary market. So we see a couple pockets of selling right here, some buying. So institutions are somewhat buying, but still biggest entity in the market right now is algorithmic trading, and it is piggybacking off of everything and really pushing things lower. Aside from that, these are some of the transactions occurring on the dark pool. Nothing really significant, in my opinion, worthwhile to bring up. With it right now at 240, it is trading between this S1 and this S2. So 231 and 271 is going to be the next strong target / resistance, followed by 337. That will be the following resistance point. So this 231, that's going to be a very big deal for Rezolve, because if it does break, then you see $1.66 as being the next strong support. So it's Rezolve honestly is one of those absolutely crazy ass stocks. So in general, even at this time, like them putting out epic news clearly is not enough for them to really push higher. Even on the actual chart, completely broken. So yesterday it was able to kind of push a little bit higher above that 10-day moving average. It got rejected off of that 200-day moving average. No different than this morning. We kind of had a little bit of a push, but still right now we are almost kind of close to that 231 range. So things on this side aren't really looking that great. Stochastic RSI is somewhat neutral in nature, so it's not considered overbought nor oversold. So all in all, I think if you are a Rezolve investor, they put out some concrete stuff. So this might be a dream come true for a cheaper price, but I think the broader market is rather fearful about what is going to be coming because of Japan raising their rates. So I think, yeah, it's like I said, a very frustrating stock. I was very hyped up yesterday because we finally got to hear about their 2025 targets. It would have been good if they could actually push and what that would mean for 2026, whether that's going to be in excess of potentially 500 mil, and I think that was their latest guidance. But yeah, let me know your general thoughts on Rezolve. Did you buy yesterday? Were you hyped up as much as myself, or did you actually take advantage and did you sell? What was your general thoughts on Rezolve? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid on-point buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades, worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.